I'm gonna click on live. So you are live right now. We started 2 minutes early, but it's okay. Okay, guys. So as of right now, we are live, and people can see us. I started a little earlier because this is my first live ever. So please bear with me. So today, for the first time, you are presenting live, and for the first time, I'm doing this live. So, we're both doing something for the first time. Okay, guys. So I would like to officially welcome the audience who has been waiting to see us. Hopefully some of your parents and friends are watching. And so welcome. So we have 8 groups ahead of us to present. We have 4 of the younger of the groups, which is 14 to 15, and then we have 4 who are 16 to 17. So guys, thank you for being here, making your time, and we can prepare the first group. We can actually start even earlier. I actually had a speech, but because it's the first time ever I'm doing this, I forgot everything. So it happens to the best of us. Great. So first group will be Mellow Yellow. And are you guys ready to present?
Yep, if I can share my screen.
Of course.
Is this okay?
Absolutely. So I'm just gonna, so you prepare, I'm just gonna set my timer, and we can start. So we're gonna start earlier, but that's good. We can finish earlier. All right. Are you guys ready to rock and roll?
Dan, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, take it away.
Hi all. We are the Mellow Yellow team. Barbara, Greta, Erika, Mateusz, Dan, and our mentors, Nikodem and Esther. We all worked together in the last few weeks. Our team members and mentors first met in December online. Since then, we have spent more time in the virtual space to develop a campaign in which we can influence our community. We all agreed sanitation at local rail and metro stations is a common problem in all countries. So we agreed that we want to make an impact and a change. We already started brainstorming in December about some ideas to prepare the presentation. However, the time was too short to connect and work out these ideas and to prepare something all at once. However, it was a start, and we all knew that once we'd meet again, we'd create something great. We again met in January in a calmer online environment. Our meeting resulted in creating promotion material which brings up the attention of all travelers about keeping the area clean.
The planning was easy. We decided to draw a poster to call attention. We also wanted to build a trash bin. Our idea was to organize a competition between teenagers and adults who can collect more trash in a period of time. The creative process started. Barbara volunteered to draw a poster as she's outstanding in arts. Mateusz and Erika helped to translate. Dan was responsible to find out how to approach the local stations and discuss with the group. They could allow us to have a formal approval for our campaign. The reality changed the plan a little. We somehow ran out of time and could not even start to build the transparent trash bin. At least the poster was ready on the time, and we could start the campaign with the slogan, "Sanitation accelerates the ride." We made different language versions for the We4 countries. You can see the results on these pictures. Also, our social media campaigns resulted in some likes, and the amount is rising.
Concluding our team activity, this was really fun to work on together, even though we have never met in person. Our team takeaway is how many things we have to think about when working on a project together. For one thing, it was difficult to arrange an appointment at a time when we all could attend. It was also tough to make decisions since we did not allocate roles in advance. We wanted the technicalities of the project to be more flexible. As we weren't able to complete or realize the project in the end, we've pulled up some examples of projects elsewhere in the world that were relatively successful in their own endeavors. One of the more notable ones is the Indian Hygiene Program, more officially known as the Indian Railways' 8 major initiatives, which include the adding of dustbins for the maintenance of coach toilets, onboard housekeeping services, and initiative and awareness drives. It was part of an attempt to modernize Indian railways and shake off the distinction between them and the rest of the so-called developed world. Its success was attributed to, among other things, surprising cooperation from passengers and drivers. The punctuality of trains was also stressed, something which before was considered more of a guideline than a rule. Another would be the problem that rose to surface in England after terrorist attacks via bombs in dustbins caused all the bins to be removed from public places, including train stations. Following many complaints regarding the dismal state of the hygiene in public areas, the UK government invested in the development of bomb-proof bins, which would contain the blast in case of an attack. The last thing I have prepared for you here isn't exactly directly connected to train stations or hygiene specifically, but is related to some of the causes of the problem that we talked about at the beginning of the project. One of the ideas mentioned during some of the very first sessions was turning train stations into multifunctional facilities. Not only would this alteration make use of any excess space available, it would make the area more appealing to the marketplace, lower overall long-term maintenance cost for all parties involved, heighten efficiency by way of diversification, and generally heighten its vitality, leverage, and incentive. Not to mention, its potential for greater sustainability would draw investments and general interest quicker than if it were to remain a single-use building. Although this method works wonderfully in many places, including train stations around the world, it is naturally not something that we can do on our own without a lot of financial backing and outside support.
We realized that to make a real social impact, we need to work even more and closer together. Of course, it is a great success that now our poster reached our target group, the teenagers, and who knows with whom we will go on with the transparent trash bin in the future. We designed and created a promotional material and launched the campaigning on different locations within the V4 countries, not meeting in person at all, out of Czech, Poland, and Slovakia, online. We aligned on a common problem in their close neighborhood, developed a solution, and executed it in a 3-month entrepreneurial project. Learned a lot about it. Thank you so much to Leaf Academy for creating us this special opportunity.
Great, thank you. So we can move to our feedback panel.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really, I think it was really well designed. The presenters as well. I love the voice actually, really calm and still very engaging. So I have a few questions. First one is, I think you mentioned something about a competition. I don't really understand what it's about. Could you maybe explain a bit more?
It was competition between teenagers and adults. Well, our plan was to build like something like transparent trash bin, which would be like 2 sides, and there would be like signs and adults and teenagers, and it will be like I don't know how to say it, like it would be like a competition like for an hour that you would go around like a city and you would like collect trash and then put it in the bin and see who had like more trash, and then it would like win some type of money and would put it in like environment. I don't know. That was probably the plan.
Yeah, I think it sounds cool. I think, and then also the next question that I was going to ask about that was, what was your target audience and what's the reason for them to join the competition? But then you mentioned the money, and it's like, okay, I see it. Second question I have is, could you tell me more about that's like those I think Indian Railways 8 initiatives? Like maybe how can you you apply these initiatives in your project or in the country or something like that?
Well, it wasn't really about applying them, I suppose, because this was more of a government thing than from the initiative of the people that were involved, like normal civilians. But it was we wanted to show that these kind of projects worked in other places as well, because we weren't able to actually put these into practice. And that maybe if we were to try and put them into practice, then it would require some pressure to be put on authorities than just like trying to do it by ourselves, because it's a bit of a complex problem that we're dealing with here. So yeah, that was it.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. Again, good job with the presentation, guys. It was visually nice, and I mean, you presented it well. So just commending that again. What I'm wondering is, if you were to go back and kind of try it again from the start, what would you do differently, basically, or especially with the meetings being online and stuff? Was there anything that you could have improved on, and basically any learnings from the past few months?
Maybe because we didn't meet a lot, like there was a period of time where we didn't meet at all. So maybe we would meet during that time as well to keep the spirit up and not have this period of just stagnation, I suppose. But otherwise it was great. So.
Yeah, and also I like that you added all the like other projects that already exist. Yeah, it definitely helps to show that stuff like this is possible. But yeah, as you mentioned, when it comes to trash, definitely working with like municipalities or local governments would be great. Yeah, thanks.
From my side, since I'm the last, Elegant say very good looking presentation and a very good job with bringing to light and highlighting the other examples from around the world to show that, you know, your idea can work even though you weren't able to put into practice. And I have no questions since all of them were already answered. So thank you again.
Great, guys. Well done. Thank you also for the feedback panel. So very well done as well from my side. I really like the colors, so you hit the nail on my side. Okay, guys. So we seem to be moving ahead with the program, which is really good. Mellow Yellow, well done. Really, really well done. If we can move to our next group, and that is Mango Tango. I wonder if they are all here. Yulka, can you please confirm they are ready to go?
We are still waiting for one person, so we're not exactly ready.
That's okay. So would you guys agree if Prancing Purple goes ahead and then we come back to you? Yeah. So Prancing Purple, Marta and Anna, are you guys ready to go?
Sorry, we're all here now.
Okay. Okay.
Just not to mess with the order too much.
Perfect. It's okay. We've got some spare minutes anyways. Good. So Mango Tango, let's get ready. I'm going to set my timer. And whenever you're ready, you can start.
we made a presentation about homelessness, and we actually interviewed few of homeless people from areas of each member. We asked them few questions. Well, this is not a question, but it's more of assumption. Why do people end up homeless? People often become homeless because they in the past may be imprisoned, abused, mentally ill, or they had too low income to afford house or apartment. How do people treat homeless people? They are either treated like children that can handle any money, or they are completely ignored. We don't talk to them, we don't make eye contact, we pretend like they don't exist. What are the needs of homeless people? A safe place to eat a warm meal, take a shower and change clothes. An acceptance. They need safe place to eat because they often don't have ability to change clothes or eat a fresh meal. And they need acceptance because they are often rejected members of the society. They are often prohibited from using public transport and going to shops. And that's actually a problem. We should make them feel accepted and not just ignore them. We should talk to them and make eye contact. And one surprising answer we got from Václav, he said that his life as homeless person was quite nice. What did you do before you become homeless?
So we interviewed two people, and one of the people said that he had a wife and two kids. So he had a normal family, but then he started gambling and lost all his money. Then he went to prison, and then he lost his home because he divorced his wife, and that's how he became homeless.
And a homeless person in prison answered, I studied anthropology, I was press spokesman until my dog died, and something happened in my marriage and it ended. I started drinking and gambling. I sold my apartment and rented a smaller one, and I had more money for gambling and alcohol until I lost all of my money and ended up without place to stay and just one bag on my shoulder. As you can see, before problems that he couldn't overcome started, he had normal life. He had dog, marriage, education, and well-paid job. What do you think about quality of homeless shelters in your area?
So Václav answered that he would stay at one each winter, but he preferred staying outside. So after the weather was warm, he went back outside, where he had dug a hole by the river and made like a small room where he lived, and he loved that place. But then in 2002 there was a flood and it destroyed the hole.
Homeless man in Kwidzyn answered, well, the biggest problem with shelters in our area is that unfortunately there aren't any. And I think there's nothing to add. In some areas there aren't shelters for homeless people, and we think that is a huge problem. How do people treat you when you are on the streets?
Václav had like a simple answer. He didn't acknowledge them and they didn't acknowledge him. They ignored each other.
People were very unkind, unfriendly, and sometimes even aggressive towards me. I was often told to leave the store that was buying food in, or a bus that was my only way of transportation, to go eat, for example, a bowl of warm soup. And people just like didn't accept him, told him to leave, and yeah. How support are people in your area of homeless people?
So, as said before, they didn't acknowledge him and he didn't acknowledge them.
People here are very unsupportive. They often stare at me, tell me to leave the public transport, store, or any building I went in. I was often abused verbally and physically. Do homeless people in your area form a community and help for each other?
Václav said that he didn't really know. When he was homeless, he was more of a loner. However, he did say that they would all together wait on the streets for some jobs, because sometimes people would give them one-day jobs, so they would work together.
No, I think it's exact opposite. Homeless people here are often fighting for money, a place where they are begging for money or place to sleep. And they are just competitive and they often fight. What could the government do to help homeless people in your opinion?
So Václav says that the government should put out more people like your Pienkava. Mr. Pienkava was a person who believed in Václav and offered him help. He offered him clean clothes so that he could get better jobs. So yeah.
If enough people would sign a petition, then the government probably will build a shelter for homeless, but no one cares enough to do this. So he thinks that just people don't care for people like him. And that's a problem, because if people don't care, then no one does, and the problem isn't solved.
What are the job opportunities for homeless people in your area? So Václav answered that, as he already said, that sometimes they would get one-day jobs on the streets. But if someone really wanted a job, they really had to believe in themselves and try to find something they had to find people that believe in them.
I don't think there are any. You see, no one would hire homeless people, no matter what the job is. People think we are disgusting and dangerous, and that's why they try to stay away from us as much as they can. Well, this man tried to find a job many times, but the reasoning why he was rejected was often the same. He was homeless. He didn't have any. He had old clothes and he hadn't showered, and that's the only reason why he couldn't get any job.
Guys, it's already past 8 minutes, so I'm gonna have to stop you there. Okay, I'm sorry. We have to be fair with every group. So we can go to the feedback section, and maybe they will ask you questions that you didn't cover in the presentation to make up the time for it. Okay.
Yeah, so essentially, with what you managed to present, it was very nice to hear these kinds of interviews with these two men from different countries. But the most important thing of the presentation, which you sadly didn't have the time for, is the solution. You showed the slide there for like a few seconds when you were ending the presentation, but if you could just, one of you, summarize it now as an answer to the question, what would you think would be the kind of solution that you came up with?
So our solution is to use this. We found this website called GoFundMe, where we would start this this fund that people would put money there, and then we would offer the money to some big organizations that know how to help these people, know how to find all the resources, but they could use the money to get those resources to help homeless people. So that's our solution, because homelessness is a huge problem, and a group of people, group of kids can't really fix that. So we can contribute to helping them in this way.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just second that. Thank you for the presentation, and it's very good that you actually went out and talked to the people. Like that's very important. But yeah, maybe speed that up, and instead of just showing the whole interviews, maybe just pick out some specific things, and then look at like the learnings and insights that you gain from those interviews, and then use that to present your solution, right? So yeah, just kind of compressing it into a kind of summary for like when you if you continue working on this. Yeah, and then maybe look into, again, there's lots of organizations working with homeless people. There's all kinds of charities and things. So looking into maybe using this to raise awareness, or yeah, just finding other ways to help as well. But yes, thank you. This is a very important issue.
Yeah, I just want to say I really enjoyed the presentation. It was very insightful. A lot of things that yeah, I didn't realize, I didn't know before. Really, really insightful, really interesting. Definitely, I would say like it slightly changed my my own view on homeless people as well. So I think, you know, if I'm just thinking that maybe if you could do something like that, but maybe on like a larger scale, so you could change even more minds, like the way that for example, you changed mine today. So yeah, that will be, I think it will be interesting if you have the time for it.
Great, thanks. So we have some spare minute, but I don't suppose you guys want to ask any more questions. It was a very heavy topic indeed, and you guys did a really good job. And getting a person for an interview could be probably overwhelming, maybe. But I also think that I will look at them differently this time. Because to be honest, I don't want to say I'm afraid, because everybody's different. But anyways, I'm not going to continue because I don't want to say a stupid thing. Okay. So guys, thank you very much. And you pulled the group through this, so you should definitely you know, have a pat on your shoulder, because it was really, really good. You made it with all the motivation you had from your leaders as well. So very, very well done. Now we will move to Prancing Purple. So you guys, are you ready? You can prepare. We'll give you a few seconds to get the presentation ready, and then I'm gonna start the timer. So whenever you guys, whenever you're ready, just go for it.
So, hello and welcome to Prancing Purple. My name is Maciej, and please let me introduce you to graffiti vandalism. We can go on the next slide. Graffiti vandalism is the act of marking or prefacing premises or property without definition, without permission. It affects individuals and communities by various factors, such as damaging the property, sharing extreme and hurtful messages, or simply disrupting the intended mood setting of specific places, such as town squares. Because of that, cities all around the world, sorry, Christy, let's go back. Because of that, cities all around the world spend thousands of millions of dollars every year just for graffiti removal, instead of using that money to make the everyday life of citizens better in different ways. So let's move on for the key motivations of people why they graffiti. The question is, why do youngsters tend to tag? To answer this question and gather the necessary materials for our project, our team has researched various articles demonstrating the problem, including the past attempts of authorities and educational organizations to try to prevent the crime. Other than that, I have also went into the terrain to take pictures, try legal graffiti by myself, and interview a young graffiti artist from Bratislava. By research, we have found out that illegal tagging is percentually most made by young men aged from 12 to 25, who usually lack positive connections with education, work, and family. For some people, it's a phase, but for others, belonging to this subculture is an important part of their identity. So while the reason for graffiti differs from person to person, we recognize it as a way of emotional ventilation. Let's move on onto the interview. During the interview, an anonymous 14-year-old artist of both legal and illegal graffiti in Bratislava shared his experience with us. Graffiti is like a drug. Once a person starts, they won't stop chasing that adrenaline rush until something bad happens. While some people might condemn it, my peers and other graffiti artists respect it, which is my main objective. He said, so, what can we do to force those people to stop? Let's go on to the next slide. The answer is that we don't. From analyzing the previous attempts of different organizations, we have found out that extreme reactions to graffiti is problematic and hurtful. Forceful methods such as threatening, increasing active surveillance, and increasing love punishment not only did not help, it did the exact opposite of wanted interest. It only made them to do it more. We need to realize that graffiti is inevitable in large cities and has existed ever since cavemen started painting on cave walls. Essentially, we have found out that there is a way to reduce the tagging rate. It is to educate young people with a comprehensive approach to a behavioral change. We cannot solve difficult life situations for them. We cannot program their mind or force them to change. What we can do is to influence them indirectly with encouragement and empathy. Right now, I'm giving my words to Maciej, which he will continue.
So that is why we created Graffiti. Graffiti is a safe space that encourages you to meet like-minded people, create communities of artists, to you to have a place to share your thoughts, share your art, and especially it shows you public spaces where you can go see or make graffiti. Next page, please. So the functions of the app. Next slide. Here you can see the newsletter, where there will be information about what the graffiti community is doing, art-related news from all around the world, and info about upcoming events. Second, the social media. Here you are able to join groups, send direct messages, or join other groups, and you can share and receive feedback and validation. Then there will be an open discussion forum where you can discuss all sorts of things, whatever catches your mind at the moment. You can put up voting polls and participate in the polls of others. Next is the app, the map. The green diamond is for showing public spaces where you can legally do graffiti. Only the operators will be able to put the spots in, but anyone can suggest new places that can be verified by the staff. Anyone can also upload their pictures of what they made or what they saw. The purple diamond is for showing galleries and different public spaces where there are going to be meetups and events. We also wanted to include a red diamond that anyone could put in, but we decided not to do that and do it in the future. It was supposed to be a red diamond that would show you places where there are unwanted tags, and people could go and remove it. Finally, we have the profile feature. Now I'm gonna give the word to Vicky, who is gonna tell you about our successes and failures.
Hello, my name is Victoria, and I will guide you. Well, let me walk you through our failures and successes during our prototyping. So, we came up with the idea our first idea was to make an art gallery, but we have decided to not make this, to not realize this, since some people might have to travel long distances to just make their art, and some people who don't have the option would be left out. So we then came up with this idea to make an application where anyone can meet from anywhere and don't have to travel far. And our second not successful idea was to make volunteers on the app to remove the tags themselves. But for that, we will need necessary materials, supervision, and permit from government, which we don't have finances for. And what comes to our cooperation during online work, what was the experience like? How it was in general? Well, our main problem was that not everybody had the time to join. So no matter what we tried, at least one person was not able to join due to their responsibilities. But the advantages were that we were able to compare our situations in Slovakia, Hungary, Czech, and Poland. And that's probably it.
Wow, thanks guys for a really good and purple presentation. You just made it just at the very end with spare few extra minutes. So thank you, and over to the feedback panel.
Wow, great job with the presentation, guys. I mean, I'm kind of impressed with like how many steps you actually managed to go through. So good job with the research and actually going and interviewing people and looking at all that. It's really cool to see that you're actually looking at the kind of core cause of the problem and what you could improve on. And when it comes to the app, that's like cool idea. The thing is, there's a lot of apps. So what you would need to do next is look at like essentially market research. So find like if there's anything similar existing and see like what they're doing well, what they're maybe not doing well, and what you could do better or differently with your own idea. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you so much.
I'm just gonna build on to that. So I'm really impressed with the research, interviews, and I think Mata, you even went to try graffiti yourself. Yeah, this sounds really cool. So from that research, could you tell me a bit like how are you planning to approach your target audience? Knowing these insights. So how are you approaching and how are you promoting your app to them?
Well, to promote our app, we are thinking of putting like letters and like posters. I mean posters on those urban places where graffiti artists and artists in general move around. So we want to kind of do it in, first of all, in the physical world, but also if we would have the resources, we can use other social media such as Instagram or Facebook to uh, really show ourselves that we exist.
Sounds good. Good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah, and from my side, again, very good presentation. You did a lot of great work. Very impressed with that. One thing I just want to ask, like with the branching out, for example, other social media, have you tried to find some virtual graffiti artist communities, for example, in already existing social media sites, and kind of involve yourself in those, for example, when you want to start to branch out further or something of that sort?
Sorry, can you ask the question again?
Yes, as you mentioned, branching out in the future into the virtual space, have you already, for example, found graffiti artist communities on already existing social media sites? I don't know, such as Facebook, such as Instagram.
Well, not literally. We did not find any like a largely grown community of graffiti artists, but the one we did interview was actually with a group. We exchanged contacts on Instagram, and after looking at his profile, I have noticed that he has friends who graffiti with him. So that is, I guess, the first graffiti community we've interviewed, and they are the same people that actually, when we went to interview them, actually showed us another place and really digged us into it. They were really polite and really friendly, which we were scared at first, like what if they're dangerous or something, but realized that we do not have to stigmatize them. They're normal people just as us.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much too.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. We are quite ahead of the schedule. I was just telling your facilitators to tell you that we are about 8 minutes ahead, which is really great. So just to let you know, you will start a little earlier. So let's finish up with the last group in the younger groups, which is the Victorian Gold. So you guys can get ready and start sharing and then start whenever. Okay, I will then start the timer.
Okay, so we're a team of Victorian Gold, and over the past few months, we have worked on the project about eliminating glitter.
Problem and the design question. Our problem was that there's too much litter in the streets and in the nature. And our design question was, what can we do about this litter in the city and nature?
Our solutions for this problem are educational posters about plastic and promoting our activities such as litter collection events.
We have two other posters as well. One is about plugging, which we will explain later, and the other one is about why is collecting litter useful.
We also wanted to create a prototype of an app that would grant people points if they collected litter. We will also touch on this later.
Our first educational poster is about plastic. Did you know that there are 8 million new plastic pieces in the ocean per day? Only 9% of all plastic is recycled. It takes 450 years for a plastic bag or bottle to dissolve, and by 2050, there could be more plastic than fish in the oceans. We think it's time for a change.
So our second poster was to promote our activities. We divided the poster into two parts. One was about the litter collecting event, which was to be specified, and the other about the app that my colleagues will talk more about later. There was also included a QR code that leads to a link for our website that we created that also promotes our activities. And we tried to attract the attention of people who see this poster by the question, are you mad about the litter in your surroundings, and the image in the background?
Our next poster is about plugging. Plugging is an activity that combines both exercise and helping the environment. It's about picking up trash on your path while jogging. The benefits of plugging are an extra move in your daily life, reduced risk of depression and obesity, and combated plastic pollution. And we would really recommend you to make it a habit.
If you are still not convinced why litter picking is useful, our last poster might provide you with enough details. So basically, animals might think that litter is equal to food, so they are eating it and it causes their death. You can challenge yourself to pick up even a few plastic from the streets when leaving the house, and it is important to advertise what you are doing, so make sure you upload it onto social media, which could encourage more people to do the same.
So we decided to create an app which would get points. The points are in photos which you can see in the bottom left corner. You would have to upload photos of a place before and after the cleaning, and you would have to put litter into normalized trash bags. We decided that one normalized trash bag should be able to contain 10 liters of trash. There would be 10 points for a normalized trash bag, and there should be no daily limit of trash bags, but all the trash bags should be in one picture because we didn't want people to upload the same picture many times over to get more points. We also decided that the people have to include personal symbol and symbol of the day, which are also in photos. Both symbols have to be handwritten on the trash bag to prevent people changing the symbols. And the personal symbol is used to verify if it was really you who collected the trash. For example, if you don't use your friend's photo of a trash that he collected to gain points as well. And the symbol of the day is used to assure that you collected the trash bag during the day when you uploaded the photo. For example, if you collected trash on Monday, then if there was no symbol of the day, you could upload your pictures on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on, and still gain the points. And this is assured by 4 random numbers every day. For example, there would be included a date, for example, 9th of April, 2022, and four random numbers will be 1, 3, 5, 8. And there would be also some daily tasks, which we meant as the competition about who will collect the most litter. And Alexei?
We made sure that the app will keep you motivated, so there will be some discounts which you will be able to obtain, and those discounts will be in some shops that we will work with. And the discounts would be minor to prevent people from cheating, only to achieve those discounts. Statistics will tell people about your progression and some numbers connected with your collection of trash. Also, you would be able to tell your story about how you got into collecting trash and why you still keep going. And this will also be a way of motivating other people. The app will also include a map, and that way you can arrange some litter collecting sessions with your friends or some people from local area. And in the trash section, there will be some in the trash section, there will be some posters, and that way you can learn more about nature if you'd like to, and if you're interested in learning more. And the last thing I would like to mention are green miles, which is also a category in the app. And this category will count all of your distance which you've traveled without emissions. So that means it's the distance you've walked or chose to ride a bike to school or work. And all of those GPS stuff will be optional and nobody would be forced, of course. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you for your presentation. You finished ahead of the limit, which is good. So we can move to the feedback panel.
I'm really impressed with the presentation. Very, it's really pretty visually. It's really engaging. Question that I have is, could you talk a bit about your target audience? So, for example, with the posters and with the app, what is your target audience?
Posters to aim to everyone, and we decided in the app to have some posters for younger children as well. But at the end, we decided that would be dangerous for the children to go out themselves. So we rejected the idea, because if some 10-year-old kid would just be on the streets without supervision, something bad could happen. So we decided not to do this. And we decided to concentrate on older people, adults, but also on teenagers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the reason why I asked this is because, well, personally, I do really care about the environment, but for me to walk outside and to actually collect trash, I don't think I would do that. So for example, for someone like me, how would you, what's the reason for me to use your app or to use the to join the program?
Well, we meant the posters to encourage people to do this, or you could just do the blogging, which was meant to be part of sport, part of something healthy to do for yourself. You would run, and while running, you would also collect litter. So, for example, blogging would be quite easy for you. You could collect it in the normalized trash bags, gain points. If you saw some litter on the streets, it doesn't have to be something that you would do every day. But if everyone collected litter, then it could have a real impact, because there's a lot of litter outside, but if everyone went out and collected it, then there would be none.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, I'll just second. Good job with the presentation. It was very clear. And yeah, I mean, the process makes sense. The posters with QR codes are a good idea. And basically, in general, I think this is like a pretty good way of motivating people. Adding this kind of gamification is great. And yeah, I would think of maybe trying to expand a little more on the kind of motivation for like people to actually continue doing this and not just kind of stop after a week or so. Yeah, good job, guys.
Yeah, and from my side, again, good presentation, but I would like to ask more about where you, for example, mentioned the cooperation with the shops about the normalized trash bags. Like, how much kind of market research did you do into that part of it, and like the kind of the feasibility of it?
Well, we didn't do any research, but we thought that some shops would perhaps support us, but if they didn't, we could still perhaps do some. But if some shops supported, then we would give some minor discounts in the shops, because I don't think that it would hurt anyone if the place was better, and if the discounts were really minor. I think the shops could do this. And the normalized trash bag, as I already said, should be 10 liters. And we decided for it because we just thought that 1 liter is too much, and because we decided that we have 10 points for it, we decided to have 10 liters, because 20 liters is too much, 5 liters is not enough, so we decided for 10 liters.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, this is it, I guess. Good, great, thank you guys. Very good. So officially we are finished with the younger group. I think you all did a really great job, and I think there was some really good comments from the feedback panel, and your answers are also really good. So guys, I'm very, very proud. I was just thinking, like, guys, like, this is really great what you're doing. Like, I'm really proud. Like, I don't know how can I say it, but I will probably mention it multiple times throughout the day and also at the end. So just bear with me that, you know, you will hear it more than once. So good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will clap for you because really, really impressed. And I'm actually going to hopefully be even more impressed with the older group because, you know, the older group should be even, I don't know, hopefully has more like, okay, never mind. I'm going to stop. Okay, so Royal Navy is our first group from the older generation. So if you guys can get ready, feel free to start sharing the presentation.
Very well. I will ask if the presentation can be seen properly and if I can be heard properly.
Yes.
Very well. Our group has prepared a presentation on tackling the problem of homelessness, which the solution we came up with is titled The Package Deal, TM of course. And it was done by Kata, who is unfortunately not here, me, Agi, Kinga Zinicka, Marton Boda, and Matouš, with the help of our facilitators, Attila and Hanna. So thank you for the help. The challenge itself we are trying to tackle is that over 100,000 people in the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, and Slovakia are homeless. And each of these homeless people costs approximately 200 euros per month to the government to make them, not exactly suffer. Well, these homeless people still suffer from bad conditions, lack of medical care, substance addiction and abuse, lack of food, etc., etc. They can even lose hope to live, which is unfortunate. If someone loses that. One possible solution that has been proposed and tried for multiple years now is government-funded housing. However, it's not always financially effective because most people can't really. Well, where are you going to get the money for that, really? And the homeless people sometimes just, I can't say abuse it, but don't use it to get to up to their feet. So we tried to have a bit of a better solution, and so we headed into the field and asked the people that work with homeless people.
So in order to familiarize with the situation we're handling, we decided to reach out to service workers, to NGOs, associations, and we emailed them like what they think. And we asked them certain questions. And basically they all proposed that the housing is really crucial, like the housing first, because they can't live under the bridges and have no showers and at the same time go to work. And then we went into terrain and we talked to the homeless people themselves. We interviewed about 5 to 10 homeless people, and in general, they all said the same things, that we gained indication into the right direction, that they really needed the housing. And since they get the salary at the end of the month, they need some help, and they showed that they really need this. So it was very crucial to our project. And here, as you may read, there are some quotes that we gained from these interviews.
Very well. Also, one thing we learned is that most of the homeless people have a problem with falling back into old habits, such as drinking, substance abuse, and things like that. So we needed to tackle that issue too in our solution, which we are getting to now. We propose a so-called package deal, as I said beforehand, which would be a way to provide the homeless with cheap housing. Cheap? They are going to pay for it? Well, yes, because they are going to have a salary, because they will have a source of income, because they will have a job. And this, housing and the source of income would help them get on their feet. Also, it would include other services, which I will get to in a second. The housing is one of the, as Agata said, perhaps the most important thing about tackling the issue of homelessness. We propose free housing for a short time, provided by some agency. Then it's like a month or two. Why? Because, as Agata said, they can't afford to pay for housing if they get a paycheck at the end of the month, right? Well, for some time it would be free, because we are talking about a fixed length contract. The housing would, after the free period, be affordable for the
homeless people because it will be subsidized by the government. Why? Well, the government already pays for the community homes and homes for homeless people, but well, they are expensive. So if we provided the government with an option to pay less for something that made more sense, I assume they would like to subsidize it. So we toyed with a few numbers and we got to about 50-50 on paying. Then the contract. It would be a fixed length contract, so the homeless people would know that they wouldn't get laid off of the job just at random. It would be a low-skill job with long hours and not a great payment, but they would have cheap housing and they would have a contract that, well, provided they did their job, they wouldn't be judged for being homeless. So that's that. Again, the government could subsidize it and still save money on the homeless program. We were discussing it again, and about a quarter to a third of the payment would be, or salary could be subsidized by the government. The rest could be paid by the company, which would mean the company would get cheap labor, which again would make homeless people an attractive source of labor for the company, and the government would save money. Other services this package would include would be health insurance and general medical help, because it's what homeless people lack a lot. Psychological help if needed or recommended. We proposed some screening before the contract would be signed to indicate if the person needs psychological help. It's not to discourage the employer from employing them, it's to know if we should, send that person to, psychiatrist. And help with any addiction or substance abuse and falling back to old habits, like prohibiting alcohol use in the living quarters, etc. The action plan would be to reach out to the government for subsidies, housing corporates for the housing, and companies or job associations for the jobs. Then you would start piloting the program in one country to see if it works, alter it and make it better, and then make a full-scale program which would make the homeless people issue, the issue of homeless people less of an issue. And thank you for your attention. Questions?
Great, thank you. So feedback panel, you heard him. Questions?
Very fun and very fun and very insightful presentation, I have to say. The action plan, very detailed. What I'm still I'm unsure about is, have you done your market research on the companies?
We did do our market research on what the homeless people actually cost the government. So, and then we took the median wages and worked with those numbers.
Yeah, so I was just wondering why the companies they would not have the contract for those homeless people. So maybe if we could find out what are the problems that those companies are facing and what those obstacles are, then maybe it will be easier to get them on board with the plan. Not sure. So what do you think?
The thing is, usually the homeless people fall back to their old habits after a bit. So after a bit of time, so it isn't really profitable for the companies to employ people that, it's unfortunate that I have to say it like this, but go to work drunk or on drugs because they spend all of their wage on that. So that could be a reason. So that's why I alluded to substances and alcohol being forbidden on those places where they would live, so they wouldn't fall back into those habits. And then you could have a pretty good employee for a low wage.
Yeah. Great presentation. I'm really impressed with how concrete this really is. You really looked at the issues and found a pretty interesting solution. I would wonder more like exactly how you calculated the financials and like how the government exactly would like be involved in this. So I'm just you don't need to like go into great detail here, but just saying this is like what kind of comes to mind. But yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of kind of more comprehensively looking into helping homeless people kind of build back up their life and kind of giving them a good starting point. So yeah, good
Yeah,
job.
so, as you were asking about the government and the money, what we propose is not for the government to pay more, so but to reroute the money they are already paying. I mean, we assumed about a 30% savings on the government side from the preliminary numbers we had, so it didn't exactly fit into the presentation. And we would, I mean, it's basically rerouting it into the pay and housing instead of just paying for drunk people, unfortunately, drunk people's medical care when they could, have a job and money and perhaps get back.
Thanks.
And from my side, it's more about the next few steps, because you had the very comprehensive action plan of like the 10 very general steps of what would you be doing with this project. But for me, it's kind of the question is, the implementation now contacting the government, the companies, and is there anything else that you feel needs to be done before that, before you can, kind of start to pitch this idea to these different groups?
A better market research, of course, having specific numbers. So, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to hear. So good luck with that, and thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. By the way, are there any questions from you guys, from the participants or the facilitators? I guess no. And the option was there from the beginning, but never mind. Okay, so the next group would be Cool Mint. Can you guys get ready? And as soon as you start talking, I'll start timing you. Is Cool Mint ready? Oh, great, thank you.
I think we can start. Our project focuses on the divided society that is caused by the generational gap. We found there is no understanding between the elderly and youngsters and the patients to explain modern things. Our solution is separated into two parts, an offline and an online solution. The offline form means face-to-face meetings with elderly people in elderly homes and also within our close relationships. The online part introduces a website where other people can look for help and an advertisement video to promote the project and raise awareness about the importance of our issue. My job was to contact elderly homes, but unfortunately I couldn't succeed because they didn't reply. Therefore, I decided to spend a day with my neighbor, who is a very nice lady. I went shopping with her. The biggest challenge was to teach her how to use Google and the role of Wi-Fi, but after a short amount of time, she was happy to read the news online.
Okay, so I came up with the idea to organize workshops in the nursing homes. I spoke to my grandparents, and my grandpa said that he would be interested in culinary workshops, though my grandma is more into needlework, so I suppose we could include both of these ideas. During the meetings, elderly people would talk about their youth and give the youngsters some words of wisdom, whereas teenagers might help the seniors with computer usage or whatever they have problem with. I emailed a nursing home in my town and got a response. I translated both these messages into English so you can read it freely. In my email, I explained what our project is about and asked whether it would be possible to organize such workshops. They responded that they are open for our offer and proposed the initial date for the workshops. Unfortunately, they could only let us meet the seniors early on school day, which is impossible because of school. Perhaps on holiday, I will be able to make it happen.
The next thing we have kind of prepared is website. It's not done yet, but to basically summarize our idea, this is how it will look. This kind of link will link people back to this main screen. This is a link to our forum, which isn't done yet, and this is to offline project, which basically means that it will summarize what we have done in this project. Here is the list of tutorials, but we don't have any content, and this is the content preview, but we don't have any content yet.
So the next stop is our short movie, which I prepared. The purpose of this video is to show both young people and the elderly that despite the fact that we live differently, using different techniques, and each of us has our own pace of life, we should support each other and show understanding, because that's the only way we're able to build a good, working, prosperous society. And here on the screen, you should see a QR code to the film, which you can scan with your phone. And I strongly recommend it to you to watch it after our presentation, because it might make you realize about this important issue.
So of course, there were some practical struggles, like contacting elderly homes and them not responding. That's kind of a big struggle when your project revolves around contacting them. But there were also some personal problems that probably all of us can relate to. For example, feeling unmotivated due to lack of time. But of course, there were some successes. For example, the fact that we stuck with our original idea, even though it was really challenging, or the fact that Maja and Alexa were trying to reach out to elderly homes, which I think is really cool. Or the video that Marcel did, for us is also very cool, and I consider this as a big success. So I think our project was overall success.
And now you might wonder what actually would we change in our work. And we made a poll about this problem, and only one person gave the advice to start the project faster, so we wouldn't be so stressed about the deadline. So I think it went pretty good overall.
Working online was a challenge for all of us. The biggest advantage was working in the comfort of our own houses, and that the only thing we needed was our laptops or computers. Most of us, though, found it pretty hard to stay focused during the meetings. Also, the connection wasn't always as good as we wished it to be. Another difficulty was the amount of schoolwork we were assigned. Despite all of these things, my group did an amazing job, and we are all proud of our results.
Thank you for your attention.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Very good. Very nice. I'm going to watch the video later. I just got the link. So over to the feedback panel. Who's going to start?
Okay, so I can start. Yeah, I love the presentation. Especially I saw that you guys have done some quite good research. I think someone was it Magda even spent a day with her neighbor. I thought that was really sweet. Honestly, about the presentation, I have nothing to add. No questions. I really hope that it works out. A question that I might have for you guys is from the last presentation to this one, what's the biggest change that you've made to your project? Just curious to know.
we probably more focused on some points. Previously we had some, bigger like idea, and we focus pointed on few points, I guess.
Cool. Glad to hear.
Yeah, really impressive. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm just really impressed with how much like different stuff you had. Like in the presentation, it was very clear how you started with the problem, you came up with a solution, and then you showed all these different things. Like you have the website, the video, all that. So that's really cool. And I'm just wondering, how like, what are you planning next for like the website specifically?
Yeah, so that's probably also a question for me. Well, I plan to finish it and make it like overall working thing. The time span of finishing it, I can't say really like a specific time, because school and other things. But I will definitely like finish it as my free time project. So because it sounds interesting and it learns a lot. So yeah. So it will be finished, but I can't promise anything.
Yeah, great. All right, thanks.
I will also make photos from the meeting in the elderly home with the seniors.
Oh, awesome.
And lastly, from me, since I have last day managed to watch some of the film, it's really cool. Good job with that, guys, also. And further, I would just like to comment that was, for example, mentioned in the end that when you asked, for example, if you should work on it faster, that you kind of came to the conclusion, which I think is very commendable, that you take the project at your own pace, since ultimately it's a free time activity and you don't want to be burned out because you're missing deadlines. So big props for that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great. So we have the next group, and I think it's the last one for obvious reasons. It is Hunter Green. So guys, get ready. And whenever you are ready, you can just start and I'll start timing.
So I think I'll be sharing my screen.
So hello, my name is Vicky, and today me and my team will be presenting our project. Sadly, one of our teammates couldn't make it, so it will be just me and Lily. And what is our project? Hungry Dragon? And what made us change our name so we could match together? You will find soon. So let's jump into the problem outline. So firstly, what should we do with our project and our journey of identifying our problem? Firstly, we wanted to figure out where does the trash actually comes from, and how do we get it out of the street? Because I think all of us don't like trash on the streets. Secondly, something that helps solve the problem. We had making video on our mind to help or change the people. But then we realized that changing people is not an easy step, and a single video won't do it because people doesn't like to change. So then we decided to produce a product that will compensates for humans' effect and guarantee of no resource flowing out of the system metallization grows inefficient and waste of management, because trash cans are always most of the time full, and we wanted to change that. Next slide, please. And why is this important? Humidity cannot be changed in little time. As I said, people don't like to change. As you can see on the photos, most of the time the trash cans are full and the trash is on the street. And we wanted to come up with a solution. And with that, I will give the word to Lily.
Thank you. So for this solution, we looked at solutions that has already existed, and we find a trash can that compresses trash inside of it. On the picture, you can see this, but this is for home use. So we wanted to change some things about it. For example, you would use this with your feet for sanitary issues and for easy access to these abilities. We would change that that the trash companies could empty it from the side, so they wouldn't have to take it off and put it back on, and it would be easier for them in general. And tracking loadness with some kind of technology. So we would have data about how often these trash cans should be emptied, because it would be less due to trash being pushed down. So more trash would fit in this kind of trashes. Go to the next slide. So what are the benefits of these trash cans? People would feel better in general because they wouldn't see that many trash on the sidewalks. People would have better moral in general. For the city, it would be also good to have a cleaner environment. Tourists would enjoy the cities more, for example, and freeing up funds to be allocated more sensibly, so they wouldn't have to pay for gas for the trucks that much, because they would have to use them less. And for the company's purposeful destination designation, exact routes, because of the software that we would design, they would be able to plan it better how the trash picking up would go, and it would save time for them, and more compact trash, easier to transfer because it would be pushed together, so it wouldn't be falling everywhere outside of the car too. And for the planet, less emission and less waste and ocean pollution would be better. The emission comes from the trucks going around less, and the waste is the same issue. And I would like to go back to Vicky.
So now it's time for design proposal. The bin should hide the compression system, so people wouldn't be scared of it. It will have an interesting design. It will be simple to use, and it will be safety, something that will catches your eye from across the street. It will be a narrative of feeding the trash to a hungry dragon. That's where our name comes from. It's perfect for little children because children will be amazed with a dragon. Also, when you compress the trash, it will make a sound. For example, a roar, or like yum yum or something like that. Making different specifications for waste of types, for example, for glass, plastic, paper, and or general waste. It will depend on where it will be placed. And giving them individual names, like names for individual types. For example, there will be Alpha Dragon, which is a bigger like trash for popular areas and industry. There will be also like Savage Dragon. As we said earlier, the dragon will make sounds, and this one will be like a little more rude. He will say, like, for example, how dare you, or maybe say some mild curse words. there will be also a melody dragon, for example, which will be very nice to maybe sing a little song. And for example, there will be a rolling dragon, which will, for example, rickroll you. And also there will be a color coding, green for the trash, yellow for plastic, and blue for paper, for example. Next slide, please. So here you can see our main design for the trash. It will be like this dragon, and the mouth will be for you to put the trash in, and the tail will be like the pedal that you can stomp on, so the trash will be compressed. And please, next slide. And now you can see our all other designs. Like you can see raccoon, mouse, lion. That will be for our future project when, yeah. So maybe we'll give them like signs, feed me, so people would do that. And with that, I will give word back to Lily.
So how the future of our project would go? First, we did prototyping trash cans and also reaching out to trash collecting companies. We tried to do this in Budapest, but unfortunately they didn't respond. They wanted to ask some questions, but that didn't really work out. We would work on the designs that Vicky has mentioned to produce new animals, to see what the people's favorites were and move on from them. Our main goal would be to motivate people using our trash cans instead of the normal ones. So maybe we would create an application that would count how many times you have used the trash cans and then give you points and make it into a competition. And we would make it colorful to attract kids so they would grow up using our kind of trash cans. And focusing on efficiency to have the planet would be really important for us. So we would really work on updating our technology.
And with that, thank you for listening to us. Yeah. We hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you. I really wanted to say that the Savage Dragon is really fun. And I hope this will be one day executed because anyways, over to the feedback panel, please.
Yes, so the first thing to commend is kind of the out of the boxiness of the idea, how you try to make trash collecting fun, actually. Like big props for that, for coming up with the animal designs and such. And one thing I would kind of like to ask about, since this is kind of still in the beginning stages of this design of the actual trash can, you have the idea, but kind of not the actual, technical aspects. So I want to ask, like, do you have any ideas how would these, since these are compressors, how would they be actually powered in the middle of the streets? Because currently now trash cans can be in the middle because they just have to be a stand there and they don't have to have a cable connected to them, for example. So do you think like these would be powered by batteries, or have you even had these kinds of this kind of thinking process yet?
We had, and the compression would be we would like stomp on a pedal, so it will be like we did it. We wouldn't need any kind of battery. Really, just on us.
Oh yeah, I missed that. Yes, you did. I apologize for that. Yeah. And the other thing is, since, for example, you contacted the Budapest collecting company, would you also consider collecting the actual city council, since they are kind of the managers of the trash in the future in the city? And if they can kind of recommend you further to the actual companies that collect the trash or something of that sort.
Probably we'll do that, but in the future.
Well, that's everything from me. Thank you.
Well, really great job, guys, with the presentation and with the actual work. Like, this is a really cool idea, and I mean, I definitely think you should continue pursuing it. And I mean, with that, like, the next step should be like building a proper like physical prototype, right? So I'm just wondering if you have any like specific plans or ideas of how you could do that, because as soon as you have an actual object, then you just come and show it to someone and they'll be like, yeah, sure, this is like really cool. Like it's much easier to get people on board with that, right?
We will do some prototype, but we haven't discussed it like together yet, but we will be working on it.
Yeah, great, definitely do. Thanks.
Yeah, I just want to say really cute presentation. I think it was like a really simple, cute, and quite effective idea. I'm very impressed, especially with the market research, how you showed the incentives for all parties involved, like from a city to the people, and it's very insightful, very helpful. And I also love how you designed the product to actually appeal to audience as well. So I don't have any question. Just want to say very impressed, and I'm looking forward to seeing dragons on the streets.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mike, you also already spoke, right? Yeah, you did. Okay. Oh, sorry. So thank you. Really great idea. And so we're supposed to have one more group, but due to unforeseen circumstances, the group is not going to present. So we apologize. And so we are kind of at the end of our live streaming. So I'm going to say a few words while we're live, so our audience can also hear that. And then I'm going to ask our facilitators to unmute and say a couple words. Not all of them, but how many, at least hopefully 3. So basically, I would like to say that for the audience outside, like, thank you for tuning in and supporting your children, friends, or just general bright youth in general. We're very thrilled to have shared this publicly. I think they were outstanding ideas, and I wish all of them could be executed. And if you're a family member or a friend, please treat these young minds to an ice cream, maybe not now because it's a bit cold, or pizza or something, because they have an outstanding job. And I will say it again, I'm very proud of you guys and for what you have accomplished. And so I cannot speak for myself because I haven't really been working this hard with you on these projects. The people who should be also speaking should be the facilitators. So I would like to ask to stand up, unmute, and maybe say a few words if you can.
So I can start. Hi, guys, I'm really proud of you. I know this has been a really difficult, or for me, it was a difficult phase with the project and working on all of this stuff, and looking at the presentations and listening to you. Really, it's like a really nice gratification moment. I feel like, okay, they worked so much and so hard, and now it feels great to see all those results in reality. You really did create so many amazing things. And I really hope that you feel like it paid off for you. I know that this is still all very theoretical, and you don't get like anything material out of this right now. But I hope that you leave this project with the feeling that you did do something already. You have a bit more skills and a bit more understanding. And I really hope that you remember in the future that you can do amazing things like that, and they will only keep getting better and keep growing in quality. So great job. I'm really proud of you, and I hope you're proud of yourselves too.
Thank you so
and
much.
I hope you heard me. I don't know if you heard me because I have problems with sound.
No, we heard you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, I guess I can take the mic next. I would like to thank everybody for the time and dedication that you put in. As Julka said, it must not have been easy to keep the motivation up over the stretch of something over 4 months that we've been doing this. So it's definitely, it was also something new for us because we've had a similar program in the past, but it was only for the ideation weekend. So we ourselves as facilitators were perhaps also not doing things ideally at all times, but believe me, that we're always trying to support you, to give you as much as we can. But I need to say I really appreciate the way you've been sort of giving us the energy back and with the work you've been putting in. And I want to say that I really appreciate also the diversity in all the ideas. So I think that there were interesting problems that are different from each other. And yeah, I just find it quite cool that you guys have taken that you also had the, I would say, energy or rigor to take an unorthodox path, something that is perhaps not as usual. For example, the homelessness. At least I found it super interesting because it's not easy to create a prototype there, but you yourselves were curious about the problem. You wanted to explore it, and you've taken the time to do that with the guidance of your facilitators. So. Yeah, I think that everybody had really cool ideas and also interesting problems that you identified. So kudos to that. I hope you've taken something from this program. As a facilitator, I myself have, of course, learned something as well. And I've learned about the problems you spoke about too. So thank you for that. And of course, good luck in the future.
Okay, I might go. I think you guys have already mentioned really key points that you should be proud of yourselves, and it was a long journey, and I think you've learned a lot. Just from my own team, I can see that you guys have transformed, and it was amazing to witness. And you won something, definitely, regardless of what happens in the future. You won the friendship of each other because, in our team, we have discussed staying in touch. And I think that in itself is wonderful. And just as a final little remark, I would also congratulate the facilitators because I think we also deserve a tiny little round of applause. Yeah, so thanks.
Can I get one more and then we finish? Okay, I'm gonna ask Macho to say something.
I do want to repeat what Aris said, but I really appreciate how much work did our students put into this project, because I know that the coordination and communication within the groups wasn't easy. And when the program is this long, it's very easy to forget that you still have some responsibilities to work on and get back to it and communicate again. So what was I supposed to do? And start working on it again. Many times we have to refresh what actually is our purpose for the next meeting, and what do we want to do as a final product. And I think not only mine, but also all the groups did a great job, and the presentations were great. Also, I think many of them improved their presentation skills. And it was possible to see how the presentation is improved from the previous presentations we had in December. So I really appreciate all the work you put in. But yeah, I guess that's it for me.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So the live has a little delay, so I'm gonna wait and then I'm gonna end it. So you guys have done really, really well, and we are not done yet. We still have one more thing to do. The facilitators have 2 more things to do. So I am just going to cut the end stream in a second. Okay, now end it. Okay, so it should